Now let's see the integer constants. As we discussed, there are three types of entities in C language: variables, constants, and keywords. Now constants are also divided into three parts, which is integer constant, real constant, and character constant. So integer constants are numbers without any decimal points. That is the you can say the whole numbers without the decimal points. So for integer constants also there are some rules, such as there must be at least one digit in an integer constant. So if there is no digit, it will be obviously space, and space cannot be considered an integer constant, or in fact any real or any constant. So yeah, but we'll talk about space later, because space can also be a character constant, because it is a character, an empty character of course. So now coming back to integer constants should not have any decimal points. So as you can see here, 2 and 5 are integer constants, but 2.3 is definitely not an integer constant because it has a decimal point. Now integer constants can have any sign, which is they can be either positive or negative. If any constant does not have any sign, so it is by default considered as positive. So its default sign is positive. So plus 3, minus 2, both are correct, both are allowed, and plus 3 and 3 are same. So both are nothing but positive constants only. Few examples of integer constants are written over here, which is 426 minus 234. Now, if you see these two examples, these are not integer constants. That is, if we add any space or commas within integer constants, then it won't be considered as integer constants. So 2 space 3 4 is not an integer constant. 2 comma 3 4 is also not an integer constant. Now coming to real constant. Just as I said, integer and real constant cannot be space, that is, they cannot be empty, so there must be at least one digit. Now since these are real, as in real numbers, so a decimal point is must. So 3.0 is a real constant, but 3 is not a real constant. So a real constant must have a decimal point. Real constants can be negative or positive, but just like integers, that sign is by default positive. So if there is no sign written with the integer and real constants, they will be considered as positive only. Now, just like we discussed in integer constants, commas or space are not allowed. So 3 comma 0 is not a real constant. 3 comma 3 space 0 is also not a real constant. 3 comma 0 0, which we usually write in our human language, it's not allowed in the computer language C. Now there are two forms of real constants. The first one, which we discussed just now, and the second one is exponential form. So in exponential form, we generally use this form when the number is too small or too large, but this is not a compulsion. We can use this exponential form whenever we wish to. Now coming to its format, exponential format is consisting of two parts. First part is mantissa, the other part is exponent. These two parts are separated by the separator e. Here by e you can take it as 10 to the power of something. So when we write 3.42 e minus 4, then it is a real number in exponential form. This real number consists of two parts separated by e. The first part is called mantissa and the second part is called exponent. Now this e can be either small or capital, it doesn't matter. So how do we interpret 3.42 e minus 4? It is interpreted as 3.42 into 10 to the power minus 4. Now this can also be positive or negative. So mantissa or exponent part both can be either positive or negative. So mantissa can also be positive or negative, and the exponent part can also be positive or negative, and if there is no sign attached, then by default these are considered to be positive. Now the third type of constant are character constants. So if we write a, b, 1 or any symbol like hash or equals to, these all are characters. Now to write these as character constants, we need to write within single inverted commas. So now these are character constants written within single inverted commas. Now coming to the second entity, which is variable. To identify any variable, we need to specify some name for it. Now for constructing the name of variables also, some rules are there. So now let's discuss the rules for constructing variable names. Variable names can contain alphabets, digits, and underscores. Now for using the alphabet, digit and underscore, there are also some rules defined which specify the order in which they can be used. So first character in the variable name must be an alphabet or an underscore. So if we write underscore ABC, it is allowed because the first character is underscore. If we write A underscore BC, this is also allowed because the first character is A. But if we write 0, 9, A underscore BC, then this is not allowed because the first character cannot be a digit. Third thing is, no commas or blanks are allowed within a variable name. So if we write gross space balance, then this name is not allowed. But then if we write gross underscore balance, then this name is allowed. Now other than underscore, no other special symbols can be used. So for example, if we write si hash int, then this also will not be allowed. Now coming to the third entity, which are the keywords. Keywords are the specially